Hello once again, and welcome to Mold Breakers Empowerment Forum. I am your boomer Doc Aud-Mel, or Audrey Melanie, and today I am sharing with you on the concept of mold builders and breakers. And what are molds? Molds come in several forms: physical, psychological, and social. And what a mold really is, it's a hollow container that is used to give shape in the physical realm to molten liquids or material that have been melted and is being used to form an object of some type. But in the social realm, when we talk about mold, we're really talking about the distinctive and typical forms of character, those things that influence who we are. It shapes our development, it shapes our perception, and some persons refer to molds as limiting beliefs. But basically, these are the things that kind of control our thinking, control our behavior, fashion how we see ourselves, how we interact with each other. So who are mold builders? Mold builders are the very first encounters that we meet when we enter this world or this life, and they continue on throughout our life's journey. We have our parents, who are the initial molders of our character. We have our teachers in the school systems. We have preachers and leaders in the religious sector of our society. And then, of course, there is the culture of the society in which we live. All of these entities serve to shape our perception, our responses, our reactions to our daily encounter throughout life. So, are molds good or are they bad? Of course, like everything in life, there are good aspects of being molded, and there are negative aspects of being molded. So we have good and bad, negative and positive. The good thing about being molded is it teaches us and provides guidelines for us on how to interact with each other and our environment without causing harm. But then, like everything else in life, molding can have a warped element where there are persons who take instructions, guidelines, principles, and the like to an extreme. And when that happens, what results are undesirable, in that it breaks some individual. Yes, in molding, in seeking to mold individuals, many teachers, parents, preachers have broken the individual. The intent was to build, but instead it broke them. And then you also have where The intent is designed to maintain order, structure in organizations. And so employers, coaches, I'm not sure that I should really say coaches, because when we look at a coach really is supposed to be guiding an individual and not imposing any of their personal ideas. And so if we look at teachers have a mindset of right and wrong. We have preachers in religious organizations, leaders, whatever titles they are ascribed, they have a sense of right and wrong. And so what they do, intentionally or unintentionally, is to create molds of principles and guidelines, and they are often very rigid. There is no flexibility, there is no middle ground. And so what does it do to the individual? It literally limits their thinking. One thing that I have identified in recent times, especially within the Bahamian society, is that parents strive to educate their children, give them a better level of education that they themselves had. Unbeknown to them, they are literally breaking a social mold. They are breaking a familial history or heritage, which is a mold. And then what happens? The child, the young adult, comes back home. They've been exposed to different things than what the parent has been exposed to. And then the society responds, the church responds, and it's like, oh, you raised this child to believe in God, you raised this child to walk this way, to choose this type of lifestyle. You send them off to school and they come back with a different ideology and a different way of thinking. But they have broken the mold thanks to you and your investment in their education. So what do molds serve to do? Molds serve to enlighten, but most often they serve to confuse, to segregate. Think about it. The varied religious groupings that we have, the varied sectors of the societies around the world. In Great Britain, the Bahamas, America, you have segregation. So there's a mold for whites, there's a mold for blacks, there's a mold for the rich, there's a mold for the poor. What is happening with all of these molds? They're basically leading individuals into a state of confusion. Let's take, for instance, a child. When that child first comes into the world, it is pure. There are no boundaries, there are no limitations, there's no concept of left and right, black and white. They simply accept life as it presents itself. But as they are exposed to the social systems, as they're exposed to political systems, religious systems, they begin to think and act differently towards the very individuals that they previously had no problem with. So molds do have detrimental effects on society, on individuals, on families, on communities. Are they good? As I said earlier, they have their place. But the one thing that we must realize is that when we place people in boxes, is which we call it often, more so than calling it a mold, but we limit individuals' creativity, their identity. They are uncomfortable in their own skins because they believe they ought to be this when the world is telling them they ought to be that. So how do we break these molds? Because those molds that are detrimental have some people feeling stuck, feeling empty in spite of having all that they desire in terms of a career, in terms of a level of education, in terms of their ability to perform. But they still have this emptiness inside of them because they're looking for something bigger, deeper, more meaningful. Let's think about it. As individuals, we are all unique, and that is why we have fingerprints. Yes. Our fingerprint is not identical to any other human being on the face of this earth. Okay, so we belong to a family. Do you know that in medical science, even though we belong to the same family, biologically, we are still unique? Have you ever heard of families needing transplants of some form? But when they turn to the family members, even family members are not compatible because of the uniqueness of our makeup, our biological makeup. So when we place people in molds, we're placing them into a mental prison. We're placing them into a biological prison. And many persons are mentally, physically, and emotionally challenged because of this imprisonment. So how do we release and break and shatter the molds? We must encourage open-mindedness across culture, across ethnicity, across geographical boundaries. Because I look different from you, because I think different from you, that does not make me right and you wrong, nor does it make you right and me wrong. Yes, differences exist, but we must seek open-mindedly to distinguish what makes us different and what makes us the same. Have you noticed that we often tend to lean towards the differences as opposed to what we have in common? Yes, that happens on all planes of our society. In education, we compete. In politics, we condemn. In religion, we segregate. Why? We are all one human race. We have all been given the faculties to function as individuals within our own rights. So when we place individuals in molds, we are limiting their creativity, we are limiting their uniqueness, and we are imprisoning them to the point where if they do not seek guidance to sort the confusion that's in their heads, they end up in mental asylums. They end up on the streets as vagrants. They end up in jobs that they have no interest in, but because they've been pressured by society, by parents, by teachers. Allow yourself to be free. Think about who you are, where you are, why you are there. Is it where you want to be? Is it where you desire to be? Are you happy? Are you feeling fulfilled? If the answer to any of those questions is no, then it means that you must begin to explore. God has given us the ability to think. He has given us the ability to have some inner wisdom, which we call intuition or our sixth sense. Oftentimes, when we as humans are not in our natural element, our inner person speaks to us because we're not comfortable. We're not feeling right. Something just seems so off and so wrong. So take the time. Be a learner of yourself first and then your environment. Be sure to know that you have a right, you have a place, you have a unique characteristic that no one else possesses. So do not allow yourself to be placed and contained within the molds of religion, society, of educational disciplines. Be free. Today you want to be a doctor. Tomorrow you want to be an explorer, someone who travels the world and seek out new things. That is okay. As long as you are happy and you're feeling healthy and you're not causing harm to others or the environment. Break free. When you are free, your attitude is better. Your self-image is better. Your relationship with others is better. Your ability to make sound decisions is better. You are happy, you are joyous, you have peace of mind. Break the mold that's holding you back. Step out, explore, discover, and enjoy this life. In the moment, in the present, it is your God-given right. Now, if you find that you are struggling and you need help, the best person to help you with self-discovery is a health and life coach. Why? Because they have the ability, they have the knowledge, they have the skills for reprogramming you from within, not attending to any of the externals. The externals are not the determiner of your character. What determines who you are resides within. I am Dr. Aud-Mel, aka Aud-Mel, and I encourage you, I challenge you to break those molds that have you feeling locked, stuck, less than you feel you deserve. Break the mold, set yourself free. Enjoy life. Who knows when it will end? Who knows how it will end? But you do know how it's going for you at this time. If it doesn't feel right, then you need to make the change. The change begins with you. The change resides within you. Have a good day. Until next time.